many people here met someone new today? Yeah, okay, awesome. You guys had a good time with the icebreaker? Yeah. So learned some cool facts about each other? Yeah. Cool. And yeah, it's good to see a lot of old friends, a lot of old faces. Not old, but it's good to see you guys back. So yeah, I'm just going to give a really brief orientation. Just to let you guys know what today's going to look like. Is that okay? Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are wondering, right? Alright, so yeah, we're here. Our workshop is called Peace Starts With Me. With you. Me. Alright. So this is a party workshop. So, who's here been first time in New York? Okay, cool. Those are guys. So, we'll go to the next slide. Thank you, Ilya. Okay, so just to introduce a little bit about CARP, just really briefly. So we're a college campus club all around the world, all around America, and also here in Nevada at UNLV and also CSN. Yeah. And these are our founders of CARP. This is Reverend and Mrs. Moon and also some of their kids. They have a big family. But basically, Reverend and Mrs. Moon, they really dedicated their whole life to really wanting to create a world of peace. And they really believed it was important to really help guide and really raise young people to be individuals who can create really healthy, really awesome marriages and families who can really serve the world. So that's why they started CARP in college campuses. And that's why we're all here. So I just wanted to acknowledge them. And this is a little bit of the schedule for today. So we had a delicious lunch. We had our icebreaker. It is 1:15, and we are at orientation, so a little behind schedule, so that's okay. So basically today we're going to have 3 really awesome sessions where 3 speakers will be coming and giving a talk to us about purity. And these talks, they really prepared from their heart. A lot of them comes from the teachings of Reverend and Mrs. Moon and kind of the core teachings of CARP. And they're also going to be sharing some of their own personal stories and experiences. It's going to be really awesome. I think we can really gain and learn a lot. And then we're also going to have some time for discussion, some break, snack time. And then 5 o'clock we'll just close all together. Yeah, this is just kind of a general schedule. So, wait. Oh my God. Yes. Okay, so this workshop, so a little bit more about like the purpose of this workshop. Why we're all here, why are you here, why am I here? Okay, so this workshop is really an opportunity for all of us to be able to become familiar to what is purity. Really learn what is purity, what does it mean to lead a pure lifestyle. Right? So I'm sure all of you have heard of it before. Maybe this is your first time really learning about it or being exposed to it. But we're just going to answer the question, what is purity? Next, we are also going to learn the value and the possibilities that leading a life of purity opens in our life. And so it's kind of going to be going more into what kind of a potential does leading a life of purity bring to my life to be able to experience even greater joy and even greater love, right? As myself as an individual or my marriage or my future family. So we're going to learn about the value of purity. Next, we're going to consider for myself committing to a lifestyle of purity. So this is all a very personal journey, personal decision, personal commitment. And I want to welcome all of you to kind of take this as your time to really seek and discover and learn and question and really decide for yourself, right? I know all of us have come from different backgrounds. We may be at all different places. Maybe we've done many different things in our life. But here is an opportunity for all of us to just be open, to just consider, right? This idea of living a lifestyle of purity. And lastly is to discover a supportive and genuine community of young people striving to live this lifestyle. Yeah. Did anybody really appreciate meeting everybody here? Kind of felt like a lot of love, a lot of energy here. Yeah. that's something I really love about CARP is kind of this community of brothers and sisters that we have. And of course we have fun, right? And of course we love each other, but there's also something deeper that all of us are really striving for in our life. And as you know, trying to be a good person, trying to lead a good life, it's really helpful to have support, right, from other people. Anybody can amen to that? Yeah, it's good to have support of mentors, elder figures, and also brothers and sisters who are going through the same thing as you. So hopefully you can find that this is a place you can feel supported in. Okay, so those are the 4 points. Everyone good with that? Yeah, okay. So yeah, all of this is leading up to a purity pledge ceremony that we're having on September 10, 2017. So it's pretty soon. This is actually our second purity pledge that we're having. Anybody here pledged last year? All right. High and proud. Okay, so we're going to be having a purity pledge. And this is an opportunity for you to consider if this is a commitment that you want to make at this time in your life, that you can be a part of this. So yeah, these are just some pictures of people who pledge. This is Quasi. He's in Korea right now. But yeah, his mom was able to come join him here all the way from Ghana. Yeah, and she was able to give him the ring. And it was just a really beautiful, special moment that they had with each other. And then, yeah, these are all the people last year who committed. So yeah, this is something that you can keep in mind as you're going through this workshop. There'll be more details about it in your packet, or there'll be more people talking about it. Yes. So, just a couple points just to touch on. So the first thing that's really important is to be open to something new. Yeah. I think one of the most dangerous words is, I know. I already know this, right? Or I already figured it out on my own, right? And that's so dangerous because it blocks us from receiving or learning anything new, right? So today, I know we all have our own concepts, whatever we've thought about it before, maybe we're really closed off to the idea or anything. Let's just be all open to something new. Yeah, be able to consider something different, okay? And we can all really learn a lot together. The next point is to connect with one another. Yeah, so actually after this, we're going to be announcing some families and some teams that we're going to have. And we're going to have some time in those teams to really discuss and share some of the things that we hear today in the talks. So one thing I really want to encourage you is let's all try to create a really supportive and loving culture here, right? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody? Yeah, it takes everyone's effort, right? So the one way that you can love and serve the people around you is actually to share honestly, right? Share what's true to you, share vulnerably, right? And feel open to share. And that will help other people to also feel open to share too. And another thing is, many times we have something called a cell phone. You guys heard cell phone before? Yeah, it's great. But here in this workshop, our time is so short with each other, right? And there's precious things that are going to be shared here from our speakers and also with each other. So let's just take the next 5 hours and not use our cell phones, okay? Yeah, let's help other people feel that we're here, we want to listen, right? We want to share. Is that okay with everybody?
So what's the standard? You're going to vibrate or switch off?
Let's turn off our phones. Yeah. No vibrate, like no sound. No sound. Okay? And if you do have an emergency and you need to call someone, that's okay. But let's do our best. Alright, so is that okay, everybody?
Yes.
Cool. I think that's it for me. Yes? Any questions? Okay, so this packet is for you. So you can write your name. And also inside, there's this little page that says My Notes. So you're free, if you haven't brought your own notebook, go for it. But if you need a place to kind of jot down some ideas or what you like from the talks or any questions, you can use this paper. And then if you want us to look more into the purity pledge, the purity ceremony, there's some details here. Okay? All right, cool. I think I've stated my time limit, right, Angie? Yeah. Oh.
Yes. Good.
Yes. Cool. All right, so let's have an awesome workshop, yeah? Yes. All right, so we're going to welcome up Angie, and she's going to be announcing our super awesome teams. So let's welcome back Angie. Give it up for Kaylee's here. She's here always.
we can't make announcements about super awesome families without super awesome
Music.
music. Can we get some music? Oh, everyone. I'm gonna just be stiff right here. Everyone's like, I really appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So we're gonna. All right. So there's some people that actually kind of walked in. Not everyone's here too. So if you don't hear your name, don't be like, oh my god, cry. Just say, raise your hand, and I'll put you in a new family. Okay? No luck is lost. All right. Ready? Turn that music up. Let's get those team announcements. Wait, family announcements. Woo! All right. So in Jinil's family. We got Chris. We got Mason.
Hey, can you stand up and show your face?
Everyone stand up.
Stand up, show your face.
Look at each other. Give each other. You guys want to come in the front? You'll get acknowledged. All right. So, are you doing pictures? No. Okay, he said no. Later. All right, and Triple family. All right, pop up. Sprout up. Then we got Cameron. Woo. All right, go ahead. Jude. All right, Jude, and we got Moses. And Triple co-leader is gonna be Yoshi. Yoshi the Mario. Alright, give each other a head hug. Alright, so we got Ilia's family. He's back there, he does all the DJ work. We got Val. Okay. We got Ted. And we have Jonathan. Alright, head up. And then for co-leader is gonna be Kobe. Alright, okay. Alright, and we got Marcus's family. AKA Chris Tucker. And then, alright. So we got in Marcus's family, Jimmy. Okay, we got Juan. Okay, we got Daniel. He's coming, he's flying, he's baby, we'll see. Yes. Okay, and then co-leader is gonna be Hayato. Where you at? Here. Alright. Alright, ready? Next we got Jeffrey's family. We got Baltazar. Is Alejandro in the house? Alejandro. Okay, it's fine. And we got Ikuse. Wait, is Dave's not here yet? Fine. Okay. So we continue. We might add some people to your family. Okay, just be open. Be ready. You might join us. Okay. Now we got some sisters. We got Caution Ugly, that means older sister in Korean. Where's Bridget? Caution! Alright, we have Surya. Go to the right, Surya. Nice. And then we got Kana. Right. We got Asters, Abby. What's her name? We got Jennifer and Venus. Are we there? Oh, Venus? Okay. Alright, and Kaylee's family. You got Joanne. We have Rena, Yuka, and Paulzia. Okay, let it. Alright, you take a seat. And Andrew's family, we got Taisha. The reason why I was confused is because we might come a little bit later, so we'll be ready for that. Anybody that I did not call, raise your hand now. Forever hold your peace. Okay, so we're gonna add, so we also have our Japanese sisters. We're gonna add you guys to families. So just hang tight and we'll let you know. All right, so we can get that music down. DJ, you can turn it down now. All right, so just to let you guys know, we have some really amazing Japanese sisters that are here just to support, and their names are Tamami, Irina, Saori, Motomi, and Nichika. I think she's like outside. So yeah, you guys can raise your hands. Hey sisters, so they're amazing. They're like the coolest Japanese sisters you'll ever meet, and you're get to know them more at this time. Alrighty, so we're gonna actually start with our first session, but just to remind you guys, you have these little beautiful little packets, right? So you guys can take tons of notes with them, and also just try to, and if you ever have any questions, feel free to write those down and we can share about them later. So without further ado, we're going to have our first session. It's called Peace Starts With Me. And as you can tell on the corner over there, if you guys look, that's our CART president. He's going to come up, and you guys know him. He's like an elder brother to all of you, but he's also really, really passionate and really cares about purity, really wants to share his heart with you guys. So let's have our minds and our pens ready. Let's all rise up and welcome up Jinil Fleischman.
Alright, good afternoon. How you guys feeling? I got a couple feeling words. Anybody got a feeling word? How are you feeling right now? Excited! Awesome, excited. Anybody else? How about in the back? How are you guys feeling? Too happy to even say.
Too lazy to say anything.
Okay. I see someone chewing the food and look very, very satisfied. So, welcome to our Peace Starts With Me Purity Seminar. So, who feels like you know what to expect? You don't. Okay, a lot of people don't know what to expect, right? Alright. Awesome, that's perfect. So, I'm just going to basically jump straight into it with, especially connecting to this theme. So, because when we talk about purity, many times it feels like kind of an individual choice or an individual lifestyle. Purity, how you choose your relationships, how you choose your lifestyle, whether it be in, abstaining from drugs or, going into relationships in a certain way. But I want to start with the bigger picture. So we have a theme, peace starts with me. And I just want to ask, what comes to mind when you hear this phrase, peace starts with me? What ideas, what does it make you think? Inner peace? Okay, actually I want to write this down.
Be the assistant?
Sure, yes, that'd be great. Let's give it up for Taisha! So we have inner peace. Anybody else? What comes? Family. Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world. Yes. Okay, one more. Happiness? All right, happiness, awesome. So we have inner peace, family, be the change you want to see in the world. Happiness. Respect? Okay, respect, last one. Perfect. Thank you, Taisha. Let's give it for Taisha! Taisha is a really amazing person that we actually, funny story, we met on the plane coming to Las Vegas. And she is an author, published and working on her second book. She has an amazing story. She's amazing. All right. So yeah, for me, this phrase, peace starts with me. It makes me, I guess just like what Marcus said, be the change you want to see in the world. It's recognizing that, the inner peace and the happiness that we strive for, that I'm striving for as an individual, is connected to a change that we want to see in the world. It's definitely an ideal, right? It's something to have hope in, but also sometimes it feels like a hopeless ideal. It feels like it's too good to be true. I don't know if you guys have been following the news recently. Anybody feeling kind of heavy? What's been happening? Yeah. You guys know Charlottesville? Does this clicker work?
Is it on?
It's on.
It should. Are you pressing down?
Okay, can you just click it for me? Thanks. Click.
Oh. It's frozen.
Oh, laptop's frozen. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, so this is some of the news that's been happening, right? So we talk about inner peace, but we don't see peace within our society, right? A lot of events have shown the tension and the division is really brought it to the surface, and it's escalated to a violent scale, right? And even beyond just our nation, in the world situation, right? In the past 2 weeks, there's been a lot of tension, even the possibility of a war on a global scale happening, nuclear war. It's a really scary thing to think about. So here we are as a group of 40 young people, students, non-students, and we may not feel like we have much to make a difference or much to do when we see these huge events and these huge, really like people's lives on the line, these things happening in the world, and these things that do not reflect the inner peace and the happiness, the respect, this ideal of family that we are striving for and that we truly want to believe in our hearts. So, I'm going to need my assistant one more time. I want to ask the question, what is peace? What comes to mind? What does peace mean to you?
It means unity.
Unity, love that word. Harmony. Empathy. Content. Going too fast.
Not too bad, I got you.
All right, awesome. Unity, harmony, content, empathy, compassion. Laughter. Now there's peace in this room. So I went to my good friend Google, and Google led me to another friend, dictionary.com. And I got a couple definitions about peace. So peace is a noun. So the normal, non-warring condition of a nation, group of nations, or the world. A state of mutual harmony, there's that word, harmony. Yes. Thank you. Let's give it up for Taisha! So peace refers to the state of mutual harmony between people or groups, especially in personal relations. The cessation of or freedom from any strife or dissension. Freedom of the mind, like inner peace, right? Freedom of the mind from annoyance, distraction, anxiety, and obsession, etc. Or tranquility, or serenity. How are you guys feeling? Even just reading this definition, how do you feel right now?
There's no peace in the world.
There's no peace in the world. Right? There's peace in this room. There you go. So, we have this ideal of peace. And so I broke it down to a definition that, to me, is the simplest, but it works for me. So this is what I wrote. So peace is a state of harmony and unity. I really like those words, whoever said that. Jimmy and someone. So a state of harmony and unity within an individual or a group of individuals that leads to mutual and lasting happiness. So peace is, you can write it down, trademark Jinil Fleischman. So to me, this is the definition of peace that works for me. And here in this Peace Starts With Me seminar, I think it's important to know what it is that we're truly striving for. And one aspect that, to me, someone wrote happiness, right? To me, it's very important to know that the outcome of peace should always be happiness. Whether it's just peace within an individual, or whether it's peace in society. When you're at peace within yourself, when you feel right within yourself, you feel happy. Has anyone ever experienced having a guilty conscience? Does anybody not? So I can remember, this is a story that really seared into my brain when I was about 9 or 10. When I felt I was not at peace with myself. So I must have been in 4th grade or something like that. I was supposed to be in Sunday school, and my friends and I were like, yeah, let's ditch Sunday school. There's a quick stop right down the street. We can get some sodas and some candy. Like, yeah, that was a cool thing to do. So we're like, okay, all the kids get dismissed, and let's not go there, let's go out. And so go down the street, we get our Sobeys or whatever it was, and we're enjoying our time. Okay, we got 20 more minutes. Okay, all right, 10 more minutes. Okay, now we can walk back and it's safe. Our parents won't know anything yet. So walk back, and then my parents don't notice. So we drive back home from church, and my mom is like, so Jenny, how's Sunday school today? It's good. It's good. And then I don't remember if it was in the car or when we got home, but what had happened was my uncle was a Sunday school teacher that week. So he knew, and he told my mom, and the thing was, it wasn't a big deal that I skipped Sunday school, but it was a big deal that I lied to my mom's face. So I just remember the exact moment, in my house entryway with the glass door, and just this feeling this weight dropping in my stomach. And I was and I knew I did something wrong, and I knew that I wasn't happy, and I also knew that my parents weren't happy. That was the biggest thing. It wasn't the act of skipping, but it was that I did something that disappointed my parents, and I lied about it. So that's my story. And so that's it's childhood. It's very there's no consequences really, but it that shows really the feeling of not being at peace with yourself. And in that moment, I just wanted to disappear and to stop existing because it was such a heavy feeling. And many times that's what we're dealing with when we talk about not being at peace with ourselves. Is that we're chasing these desires, we're chasing what looks good in the moment. For me, chasing that Sobe, that hanging out with my friends, that rebellious feeling, and we're chasing those immediate gratifications, those cool things to do. and we get back home and we realize that it really wasn't worth it. We realize that, there's something deep in my heart that's not happy, that's really not at peace. So the bottom line is that finding peace and living at peace should lead to happiness for ourselves and for those around us, eventually for the whole world. So I want to share something that the founders of CARP, Reverend and Mrs. Moon, have shared with us as sort of like a roadmap, a strategy to achieving eternal lifelong happiness. And it's called you can think of it as 3 life goals, or we call it the 3 great blessings. And it's 3 goals to strive for in our life, that both the fulfillment of these goals and also the journey will lead to true happiness. So the first one is to become a mature and loving person. Second one is to build a loving family, to unite as husband and wife, and to create a family and an environment where children can grow up and learn, what true love is from the example of their parents. And third, to make an impact in society and the world. To build a family that doesn't keep all that love to themselves, but wants to go out and meet your neighbors and grow your talents, your abilities, inspire people. Build a culture that reflects this love, this happiness. So for today, this purity seminar, we're definitely really going to focus on number 1, become a mature, loving person. And talking very, concretely, very, directly, how can we actually do that? What does it look like? What are the challenges? What are the pitfalls? What are the lies that tell us to go this way when we really should go this way? So the 3 great blessings, it's also comes from Reverend and Mrs. Moon's really deep searching in the scriptures and also in their life experiences. So kind of the biblical foundation for the 3 great blessings is even in the very first words that God speaks to man, when he speaks to Adam and Eve, is be fruitful and multiply. So be fruitful, become a mature person. Multiply, build a loving family, multiply that love, and have dominion over the earth. Contribute to a beautiful world, to a beautiful environment. So there's one really basic principle about everything, basically. And it's called so here it says the forces of give and receive action. So it's a fundamental principle of the universe that everything exists through give and take, give and receive action. If you think about it, for us to be here in this moment, if you think about all the, the atoms and the molecules and all the cells and all the interactions that are happening in this moment, there's infinite of these small interactions of give and receive action. The proton, the neutron, the electron, and our red blood cells, our white blood cells, inhaling and exhaling. It's a principle of this universe that coming from God, coming from the source of truth and goodness, that everything interacts through this give and receive action. So when we talk about peace, we're really talking about what's the quality of this interaction that's happening. Is it divisive? Is it confronting or aggressive? Or is it harmonizing interaction? So, like I said, we're really going to focus on the first blessing, which we call be fruitful, or perfecting your individual character, becoming a loving person. So, each one of us, we have our internal self, our mind, our spirit, our personality. Does anybody think you're the same as another person? Have you ever met someone who's really similar to you? Yeah? Right here? But would you say you guys are like exact copies? Hard to say.
There's the answer.
Okay. Next question. Let's ignore my lecture. And each of us, we are unique people. We are unique beings. Each of us has, an internal self, a spirit, a mind, and a heart that's unlike anyone else, and that's irreplaceable. And each one of you in this room, no matter what you've been through in your life, no matter what you may have done or not done, each of you is irreplaceable and loved for who you are. And this is our mind. This is really our soul, our spirit. And then we have our body, which is, you could think of it in terms of our physical body, but also in terms of our self-preservation, our instinct. The part of us that says, I gotta survive. So when we, as an individual, when we unite our mind and body, when we're at peace with ourselves, centered on centered on God and centered on the principles of goodness and truth in this universe, that's the way that we become the person that we want to be. And that's when we can really be at peace with ourselves. When our conscience is happy with our actions. And this is what we're striving for. This is the ideal, the first blessing. And it's kind of a description of what it may feel like. It's really feeling like a temple of God, or being one with God. It's really feeling like there's a higher energy, there's a higher being living with me, living through me. It's meeting your brother and your sister and not being like scared, what are they gonna think about me? Did they see me picking my nose earlier? Don't want to put anyone on this one. So this is what we're striving for, and also feeling. It's not just actually it's so much more than an intellectual, state of being, but it's really a feeling in your heart where you feel this love for other people, and you don't know why, but it's because our conscience, our deepest desires, are united with our actions and our lifestyle and how we live. So that's the first blessing. And in scriptures, there's, talks about this. Be perfect as your Heavenly Father is perfect. And Jesus telling us we're meant to become divine beings ourselves. We are divine beings. You yourselves are God's temple, and God's Spirit lives in you. And love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. So this is who we are meant to be. It's not just it's an option. It's a possibility. You could try it if you like, but deep in our hearts, it's our destiny. It's really who we're meant to be, to live this life of love. To be a person where we really feel, our brothers and sisters are our brothers and sisters. We don't feel like there's such a thing as strangers. And it's really, Reverend Moon has talked about it. It's like being intoxicated. It's like taking the best drug without taking a drug. It's living this life of joy. And based on that foundation, we talk about the three blessings. We put that in an order because they build off of each other. So once a man is living that lifestyle of maturity and love, and he meets a woman who's also living that same lifestyle, and they grow together and they unite in true love based upon God's principles of truth and love, and they have children and they have a family, then this family becomes, Reverend Moon calls it the school of love. It becomes like the factory that's like mass producing good people, that, you know, society changes, society becomes filled with people of love. And based on the model of the family, we have what we call 4 realms of heart. You know, as a person, we learn different aspects of love. First, we learn how to receive the unconditional love of our parents, and how to give back, how to say, thank you, Mom, thank you, Dad, and I want to make you proud. And we learn how to treat each other as brothers and sisters. We learn to forgive. We learn to overcome our differences, to see each other's goodness and divinity. And upon that foundation of seeing, you know, my fellow masculine people as my brothers, and seeing my feminine people as my sisters, and feeling like I don't need anything from you, but I want to give you everything, and that's the foundation to then come into a committed relationship as husband and wife. And based on that love and having children and becoming parents, having the maturity of heart to go through whatever it takes and to give the world to your children. So this is what we call the 4 great realms of heart, and the ideal that is inherent, you know, how families are meant to be, and how peace should naturally spread from the family. And upon that foundation of, you know, families and societies of good people, and we would interact with the natural world. We would make amazing music. We would build amazing buildings. We would discover the most incredible things through science. But we'd also love the natural world. And that's really a world of love, a world that reflects God's divinity. And the purpose of these 3 great blessings, as we talked about, is to experience joy, to be the happiest people, to be the happiest society, you know, a society that reflects this peace. And ultimately that reflects this ideal of true love. So I want to ask a question. Should we write it down? Okay, let's write it down. Thank you, Tasha. So I want to ask a question. Maybe we're going to need 2 columns. Yeah, you can use the blue one. So we're going to make 2 columns. First column is, what do you think true love is? What do you think true love is not? The second column. So let's start with the first column. Actually, let's start with the second column. Okay. What is not true love? Hate? Hate, okay. Control. We're talking about love, not just a man and a woman, but, you know, as family, brothers and sisters, neighbors, the big love. Yeah? Abuse, harm to oneself, selfish. Maybe one more? Inconsiderate? Okay. Oh, not so much. It's got a little different flavor. Alright, how about, what is true love? Forgiveness. Acceptance. Patience. Respect. Alright, so you got one? Selflessness. Ooh. It's all good.
Writer's message. Very low. There was another one.
Maybe one more? Unconditional. All right. All right. So there we go. We got. Thank you, Taisha. Let's give it up for Taisha! So we have these two columns, right? We have true love, forgiveness, patience, respect, selflessness, acceptance, unconditional. And we have not true love, hate, control, abuse, selfish, harm to the self, being inconsiderate. So it's good, I wanted to talk about these, to define these, because if we're wanting to strive to become a person of true love, if that's the goal, then we need to know what it is that we're trying to become. And I want to also explain from the Divine Principles kind of perspective, or how it explains this. So you remember that we were talking about the internal, the mind and the body, right? The spirit that we have, and the body, the physical self. So, our internal self has certain desires, and our external self has certain desires. So, our internal self really wants to experience love, really wants to feel accepted for who you are. Wants to know truth, and wants to know what is right, what is wrong. Wants to really feel, this is beautiful. Wants to look in the world and feel beauty, and hear beautiful music, see a beautiful painting, have beautiful relationships that reflect, this harmony. And that really desires to feel goodness, to do good things, to do right to our fellow brothers and sisters. So our internal self, or our mind, has desires for the whole. Wants to experience these things that bring all people joy, that benefit all people. If you make an amazing discovery about, science or something like that, that you don't keep that to yourself. And by its nature, it benefits all people. If you become an amazing singer, or if you publish an amazing book, by nature, you don't want to keep it to yourself. You want others to experience that joy with you. And our external self has desires as well. And this is really about, self-preservation, about, keeping yourself alive and healthy, right? It needs food, it needs water, it needs sleep, desires sex, desires procreation, and basically desires pleasure. So, and I hope you notice there's no good and bad desires, good and evil in this picture. As human beings, we're meant to have both these internal desires and these external desires. And so living a life of maturity and living a life of purity is about learning to put these two desires in balance. And learning to know what is the priority, what is really most important. Because our society and the world teaches us that this is what matters. You could put also, prestige, or your social class, or your, how people look at you, sort of your external desires, your own, what you're getting out of it, desires for the self. And the world is teaching us that this is what really matters. You need all the coolest stuff, the best car, the best house, high-paying job, buy the newest gaming system, get the PS4, whatever it is, right? Right. So this is what what is naturally being taught to us as what's important. And so living a life of purity, which we're going to go into more into detail, like what does it really mean? What are the steps to take to live a life of purity? Is learning how to put these in the right balance. And remembering that our internal self is the subject. Our internal self should be in the driver's seat of our life. We shouldn't be slaves to our desires and always being controlled and told what to do and watching our life just getting away from us and we have no idea what's happening because we're a slave to our desires. We need to learn to put these true desires in the driver's seat of our life. So this lifestyle of purity that we're talking about today, it's really the step-by-step, the process, how we're going to do this, how we're going to, become a person where love and truth and beauty and goodness matters most in our life. Instead of a person that's all about what can I get out of it, how can I feel good, and how can I get enough for me. So that's why we're talking about purity. So we have 2 more amazing speakers today. We have Pastor Stacy, who's giving a spin around the applause. And he's going to share from his own life story and also lessons that he teaches to young people about living a life of purity and the difference that it makes. And he'll really, his own life story, it's a direct testimony to the value of purity and knowing God's principles and living according to God's love, and how that really changed his life. So that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about purity. And I wanted to give this talk because many times it feels like it's sort of like this checklist. Like, okay, do this, don't do that. Okay, you did that, you're a sinner, bad person, okay, get out of here, right? There's kind of this this is a line, don't cross it. That sort of feeling when it comes to purity, when it comes to having a standard for yourself. And yeah, we're going to be talking about the nitty-gritty, about porn, about drugs, about sex, about relationships. And the point isn't to know, okay, this you should do this or you shouldn't do this. But it's about knowing, what's the goal that we're striving for? Who is it that we want to become? And if we really care about becoming that person of true love, that person where you really feel happy with yourself, then it's worth going through a little challenge. It's worth, putting aside some desires, some things that we don't want to let go of. But we want to know that it's going to be worth it in the end. And some people might feel this way right now. Some of you may not. It may feel like I'm talking nonsense. But to me, living a life of purity is something that we can do that directly will help the world. How's that sinking in right now? I hear some nods, some stares. Okay.
Bouncing back.
So I really believe that living a life of purity is something that we can do that will directly help the world. Because we are a part of this world. The interactions that we have with people is a part of this world. The families that we'll create, the marriages that we'll have is a part of this world. And when we're putting something good into the world, it's going to spread and it's going to make a difference. So I just want you guys to hold on to that. This choice of purity it's for yourself, but it's for so much more than that. And I want to end by sharing a quote by Mrs. Moon. She's the co-founder of CARP with her husband. And so this is what she said. The world today has become greatly polluted. We need to be the pure water in this world. Pure, untainted, and not polluted. When we look at this world, we can see so much corruption, so much pain. We can see so many families that are really sources of heartbreak. And maybe some of us might have experienced that in our own lives. And it really is painful. It's not something we want to face many times. And this world is really in a lot of pain. It's suffering. And so for us who have the blessing to learn something better, to know something better, we can be that source of truth and that source of light that can help to clean up this mess. We can help to we can be an example, show people, be a living example. If you live like me, you're going to be happier. If you live like me, your marriage will be happier, your families will be happier. This is what living a life of purity is all about. So I hope that you can feel some hope coming here today, and hope about this ideal of purity, that you can be someone to make a difference in the world. So I'm going to end here, and we'll have some discussion afterwards. Thank you.